In the heart of West Africa, a revolution is quietly unfolding, not with guns or protests, but with bricks, mortar, and an unshakable vision. Burkina Faso, long overshadowed by poverty, instability, and the looming hands of foreign powers, has made a bold move. Under the leadership of the 36-year-old soldier-turned-statesman, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the country has embarked on a historic mission to build an entire city, Renaissance City, with 50,000 free homes for its people. But this isn't just a housing project. It's a rebellion against dependency, a declaration of self-worth, a dream born in defiance. Burkina Faso has suffered for decades from terrorism, from economic neglect, from global silence. When Traoré took power in 2022, many doubted his ability to bring stability, let alone transformation. But just 3 years later, the impossible is becoming reality. Traoré's plan was simple, yet daring. Take local resources, local labor, and local dreams, and build a future. With no loans from the World Bank, no strings from the IMF, no corporations from the West, just Burkinabe hands shaping Burkinabe hope. So, how did a landlocked country, once on the brink of collapse, begin building what some are calling Africa's first post-colonial utopia? Let's go back to the beginning. Traoré grew up watching his country suffer, his people displaced, his land exploited, his leaders bowing to foreign interests. When he seized power, it wasn't just a military coup, it was a reset button. And Renaissance City? That was always the endgame. 50,000 homes. Let that number sink in. Now imagine each of those homes powered by solar energy, built with climate-resilient materials, connected to clean water systems, schools, health centers, and markets. This is Renaissance City, a futuristic, fully planned urban dream rising from the Sahel dust. But here's the twist. These homes are not for sale. They are to be given away, free, to teachers, nurses, soldiers, farmers, and families who've given their lives to building the country. It's social housing at a scale rarely seen on the continent, and never seen in this way. Each home tells a story, not of wealth, but of dignity, of a government that finally puts its people first. Jobs were created, over 10,000 construction workers hired locally, over 200 community-led cooperatives producing furniture, bricks, paint, and wiring. This isn't aid, it's ownership. And the city doesn't just shelter bodies, it nurtures minds and spirits. A central library, a revolutionary school curriculum focused on Pan-African history, vocational skills centers. This is a city teaching its children to think independently, to dream bigger than survival. Even the architecture speaks. Inspired by traditional mossy designs, with a modern twist, Renaissance City is both a tribute to the past and a leap into the future. This is not just urban planning, it's cultural revival. Why would a simple housing project shake the world? Because it breaks the rules. Rules that say poor countries must borrow to build. Rules that say African nations can't rise without foreign help. Rules that say sovereignty is just a word, not a policy. Renaissance City is defiance in concrete form. Since the announcement, Western observers have called the project unsustainable, populist, and unrealistic. But beneath those criticisms lies fear. A fear that if this works, other nations might follow. Already, leaders in Mali and Niger are watching closely. Movements across Africa are rethinking the development model. Why borrow millions for aid-dependent megacities when you can build locally with your own hands? Traoré has made it clear Burkina Faso will no longer be a slave to international conditions. His decision to pull away from French influence, reject the CFA franc, and look inward for development is part of a broader realignment, one where African leaders prioritize self-reliance over symbolic sovereignty. But with every bold move comes risk, sanctions, isolation, and sometimes even covert sabotage. Across the continent, youth are watching. From Lagos to Lusaka, Nairobi to N'Djamena, the name Renaissance City is spreading. Not because of its beauty, but because of its message. We can build, we can thrive, we don't need permission. Burkina Faso's bold step is reigniting a pan-African consciousness, one where infrastructure isn't dictated by donors, but driven by dreams. And while challenges remain, funding, scaling, maintaining, what's most powerful is what this city represents, a shift in mindset. It shows that leadership, when courageous and people-centered, can transform even the harshest conditions. Already, there are talks of replicating Renaissance City in other regions of Burkina Faso. Traoré's government has launched a One Nation, One City plan aiming to build 10 more such developments over the next decade. But perhaps the biggest impact is psychological. For too long, African youth have been taught to look outward, to Europe, to America, for opportunities. Now, they're looking inward. And that is revolutionary. They said it couldn't be done, that a war-torn, landlocked country couldn't build a city of dreams, that Africa couldn't rise without the West. That hope doesn't grow in dry soil. And yet, here we are. Renaissance City is not the end. It's the beginning of an African awakening rooted in dignity, agency, and local pride. The beginning of a development model that centers people, not profit. A rejection of dependency. A call to action for the continent. And while skeptics may scoff, one thing is undeniable. Something is shifting in Burkina Faso. In its soil, in its streets, in its people. And if Renaissance City is a glimpse into what's possible, then perhaps the future of Africa is already under construction. Subscribe for more.